Hello there, my dear friends. I just want to share a memory from the past. Uh, it's about a girl I used to know. It was a few dates. So this was in the 90s, mid 90s. And I was a bachelor. I lived in my own apartment. And I drove a taxi cab at night in Stockholm, Sweden, the capital of Sweden. Actually, back then in my spare time, I didn't have many friends. I knew one guy. We used to socialize once in a while, but overall, I just spent my weekends on my own. When I had a day off, I used to drive my old Mercedes to the flea market in the nearby suburb and walk around and looking at vintage records and books. And after a while, I was fed up with this life. I just wanted to meet someone, a woman, a girl. And when I was not like attending parties, so I was kind of a loner. If you're a loner, it's difficult to meet a girl, a woman. So I found an advertisement in a magazine. There was a girl. She had this. She wrote that it was a photo. She looked very good. She was a very beautiful, attractive young girl, woman. And she wrote that she wanted to meet a man. This was a woman who from Latvia. The Baltic country of Latvia, former Soviet Republic. And so I decided to write her a letter. And I wrote about me, presenting myself, my interests, and I sent her a photo. And she actually, she was very good looking, so I thought she will never respond to this. This is a long shot, but actually she did. She sent me a letter, and she wrote about herself, and she posted a photo. So, and then after a while, I think I called her, and I decided to go to her city. She lived in the capital of Latvia, Riga. So I bought myself the airline ticket and I booked a hotel and I went there. This was in 1995, November. So it was, I landed there at the airport and I don't remember, I don't think she met me at the airport. So I went straight to the hotel. As I remember, that city was a gray, drab place full of depressed people. So I stayed at that hotel, and then the other day I phoned her and I had her address, so I took the trolley bus to her address. And it was, suburb of Riga. It looked miserable, and there was like a block of flats, concrete block of flats with no paint on it. And I went in there, and there was a wooden door, so it looked very depressing. And then she was there, actually. I think I knocked on her door. I saw there were a lot of shoes there. I don't know whether she lived together with her mother and father, but she never let me into the apartment. And so then I just talked with her outside, and then we decided to meet each other the next day. So she picked me up. Back then, Latvia, people there were usually very poor, but she had a car. I remember she had a VW Golf. It's called a Rabbit in the United States, Volkswagen. And she picked me up, and we took off on a little road trip, and that was fun. We drove outside to a place called Sigulda, and they had like a funicular railway there, which we rode. And I remember then when we drove on the road, she told me that I remember once my car broke down, and I went out of my car and waved for help, and all the male drivers, they stopped. So she implied, it was like implicitly, that I'm so attractive, so if my car breaks down, all the men are going to help me because I look so good. So she was very self confident after a while, and then I don't remember what happened then. But we decided to meet each other, and I suggested, why don't we meet each other soon? This was in November 1995, and I suggested, why don't we meet in January or February? I'll pay for the airline tickets, okay? And no, it's too cold. Oh, why couldn't I come in the summertime? But hello, this is in 6 months. Are you not interesting to see me, or to meet me, to learn, to learn about me? No, but then after a while, I transferred money because for the airline tickets. So and then I think it was in March '96, she arrived with the plane. And I don't remember whether I picked her up at the airport, but she stayed at my apartment. But when she was there, she was always sitting at the distance. So, and we talked, and she said, like, you seem to be a very lonely guy, and the phone never rings, and so on. And then, I had a buddy back then, and I phoned him and said, why don't you come over to my place? Had a little surprise for you. And then he came home to me, and we decided to go to his place. And, he was working as a car salesman at that time, so he could borrow a new BMW over the weekend. So he had that brand new car with him, and this girl, she was very impressed of this guy with a new car. So obviously she was a kind of a gold digger. She was not interested in me. She wanted to travel for free, and but never mind. We had a fun time. So we sat there and watched movies at my buddy's house. Two bachelor and this young Latvian girl, and then we went home to my place, and I went to work. So the next day, I had to go to work at the evening. In the evening, and then when I came home, she was not there. She had disappeared for some reason. I was worried, man. Where did she go? And then the next day after that, she showed up again, and I asked her, "Where have you been?" Just took off and she told me that I went with another guy to a horse farm. Okay, look, I paid for your air tickets. You're supposed to be with me. Why do you go to a horse farm to be with some other guy? Well, I know him as a friend of mine. So, and then we started to argue. She was brash little girl, and actually she didn't tell me. We sat at home in the kitchen in my apartment. She told me she had kids, she was divorced, this and that. So we had a brawl. Then I took off to work, and I said, I'll drive you to the airport the next day. And then I came home, and she was not there. She took off. She just threw the key down the mail slot, and she was not there. She took off. She didn't even say goodbye. So I remember that little cheeky girl. Of course, she was a nice young lady that took advantage of me. But I have no regrets. I actually searched the internet for her because I remember her name and her address. I'm not gonna stalk her. I'm not gonna do that. But I hope she lives a good life. Now, she is old. I mean, she was 26 back then. She's at the same age as I am. so she's probably 44 years old. But I wish her the best wishes for me, and it's just a great memory that I have. Wanted to share with you, my viewers.